The very last thing we're going to add to this 2-point exterior is a row of lampposts that goes down both sides of our city block here. So I'm going to start by just designing a basic lamppost, just like we did for our 1-point perspective exterior. So I'm going to start with an oval, kind of here down at the bottom of the corner of my city block. There. Then I'm going to do a vertical straight up from that. It's going to overlap my side of my building. So I'm going to give it some thickness. Use my ruler to keep it a little bit straighter. I don't want it to go too high. You could always make fancier lampposts than this, but I'm keeping it pretty simple. I'm going to do a triangle at the top. I'm going to give it a little bit of shading so you can see it stand out from the other objects in this scene. So now this needs to converge back in 3D space along the left-hand side of my sidewalk as well as along the right-hand side of my sidewalk. And it should look like they're getting smaller and smaller and going back in 3D space. And they'll have less distance between them as they reach the vanishing point. So I'm going to start by making a tunnel that this row of lampposts have to live in. So the bottom point of that lamppost that I just drew, I'm going to line that up with my vanishing point on the left, and I'm going to lightly draw a line that goes back all the way to that vanishing point. Now this is the point that my lampposts can't go any lower than. If they go lower than this, that means they don't line up and they could be off the edge of the sidewalk. So I'm making, again, a tunnel that my lampposts have to remain within. So now I'm going to take the top of the lamppost that I made. I'm going to line that up with my vanishing point on the left, and I'm going to draw, again, a light line back all the way towards the vanishing point on the left. So again, I have this space that each one of my lampposts has to live within. So now I'm just going to start to draw lampposts again. So I'm going to start with an oval shape. It can't go any lower than this bottom line. Shade that in. I'm going to do my verticals. Again, trying to keep them straight up and down. And shade that in. A little bit higher. And then the top is going to be my triangle shape. So I want to think about atmospheric perspective again. So I have more distance between these because they're closer to me. The next one should not have the same distance, it should be a bit less. So I'm going to continue to draw these lampposts in. With an oval, a vertical straight up, and a triangle at the top. So there's less distance between each one. So less distance here too. An oval, vertical straight up, triangle at the top. Can't go any lower than that converging line or my tunnel here. Can't go any higher than the top. And I want to continue that all the way back until it finishes out my city block. So I have this row of lampposts going back in 3D space that are affected by atmospheric perspective. Do the same thing now for the right-hand side. So I'm going to work off of that very first lamppost I made right at the corner here. So the bottom edge of that, again, is going to line up with my vanishing point on the right. And I'm going to draw a light line back towards the right, that my lamppost will live in. So they can't be any lower than that converging line that I just drew. Same thing now for the top. So the top of my lamppost is going to line up with my vanishing point on the right. And I'm going to draw, again, a line that goes back towards the right. So I have this tunnel or converging line that's going back in 3D space where my lampposts have to live within. So I'm going to start to draw them in now. So I'm going to put one about right here. Again, starting with an oval shape that I can shade in. Then I'm going to add my verticals straight up from that. And I'll have a bit of overlap with my buildings, but that's okay. Shade that in and do my triangle at the top. So I've got greater distance here, and it's going to get smaller distance each time. Starting with my oval, adding in my verticals, and my triangle at the top of that lamppost. So less distance each time I draw them. And it can't go any lower than that very first line I drew, that part of the bottom part of the tunnel. Can't go any taller than that top line. But each one should be closer to the next one so that it looks like it's going back in correct perspective. Again, affected by atmospheric perspective. And that finishes out my 2-point exterior scene.